Welcome to the Murabbi podcast.
What's going on, everybody? This is Ernie with you, welcoming you to another episode of the Murabbi podcast. I plan to do a couple of videos in a specific series about me talking about some of my teachers that had a personal effect on me. So, it is appropriate that I start with Dr. Ernie Wade. This man, for me, and I think my father will agree, was a pivotal. This man, for me, was a pivotal personality in my life. Coming up as a young man living in a predominantly white area, I did not have a lot of African American male role models outside of my own particular family. So, of course, I had my father, who is, in my opinion, probably the best example of a man walking the earth. But my father's Nigerian, so there were things about the American side of things, the American culture, that he would not really know so much about, though he did an excellent job. And unfortunately, in my particular area, there were not that many black people in general. And in school, a lot of the young black youth were not the example that I wanted to model in my own life. Now, out of pure chance, I came across Dr. Wade, one of my teachers, Miss McMurray, who was another person who was extremely important to me as a high school student. I'll do a video about her, and hopefully I won't cry as I'm doing that one. But she came up to me one day, and she had such a good relationship with me. I remember she told me she was carrying a box of stuff, and she saw me and she called me, and of course I'm come running. Yes, Miss McMurray. She takes out a piece of paper in a folder and says, "Give this to your parents, have them sign it, bring it back to me, and you're gonna do this." And I was like, okay. And so she kind of explained to me that, listen, it's gonna be a program for gifted minority students, and you'll be going to the university to study subjects every summer. Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. I'll do it. Took the paperwork home, parents signed it, and I will say that that was probably one of the best things that I'd ever done in my life. So I was part of the Kaleidoscope program, where other students around North Carolina, and I think it was centered around, I don't really know, it was centered maybe around from the Piedmont to the Triangle. So between Winston-Salem and Raleigh, many students were picked from this program, and we would spend 4 to 5 weeks at Wake Forest University, and we would study subjects that were going to be studied the next year. So I think I came in my freshman year. So that summer, we were supposed to take, the next year, I'd be studying Algebra 2 or something like this, or geometry. And so that summer, we would focus on this. So we took English, we took math, we took science, and some other things, Unfortunately, my memory is not so great. I probably need to talk with some of the guys and girls that were part of that program to kind of give me a bit of memory back. But what I do remember was the talks that we would have with Dr. Wade. And he spoke to us very frankly. He spoke to us, as if we were adults, which is something I was not used to. And he basically pointed out the fact that we, as young African Americans and minorities, because we did have some Native Americans along with us and some people of Spanish descent, that we needed to really take our studies very seriously, because the American society will look at us as disadvantaged, and they're not going to give us the grace of understanding. So we had to take our destiny in our own hands, and we had to be excellent. And that was the thing that I took away from Dr. Wade, was trying to be excellent. And Dr. Wade was a very, on this issue, he was uncompromising. He wanted greatness from everybody, and that's what he was going to get. Around Dr. Wade, we pull our pants up, we change how we talk. And, he really had a profound effect on me, because he talked to us very frankly about, relationships between boys and girls and hygiene, things that, maybe you'd be shy to talk to your parents about, but Dr. Wade would talk about it and tell us, you need to tighten up. You need to tighten up. And for me, why was Dr. Wade so pivotal is that every person he talked to, I don't believe there's anybody that spoke to Dr. Wade except that you felt that you were important, that you felt that he really had a vested interest in your life and your future. And, he would just say little things to you that, other people may think, what's the big deal? But from Dr. Wade saying these things, telling you that he believed in you, telling you that you could achieve your dreams, telling you that don't look down on yourself because because you're black or because you're Indian. Don't allow people to stereotype you. Don't allow it. Stand up with pride. Stand with your head up. And he introduced us to so many authors and so many books and so many different paradigms that it really changed my outlook on myself. It gave me a courage that I really needed at that time, because I'm telling you, growing up in that small, predominantly white town, it did have an effect on me. It did have an effect. I like to think most of it was good, but of course, there were some negative things. When teachers would assume because you're black that you're not going to graduate, or assume because you're black you're not going to go to a 4-year university. I had a teacher tell me that, Mr. Altenheimer. I'll never forget that, man. That's another episode. But Dr. Wade, he exposed us. He even took us, we would go on trips. And I remember we took a trip to Canada, and he was really focusing on explaining to us that, listen, you are going to go to an environment that you've never seen before. And you're going to see people that you think are black, but they're not, which will challenge your understanding of what it is to be black. And for us, we were like, what is he talking about? And he was trying to explain to us that, in America, a lot of times we see skin color, and because of skin color, we believe that we have a common camaraderie. Now, in general, that's true if you're a foundational black American who, came up with the slavery ancestry and all of this kind of stuff. But he was pointing to the fact that, no, you're going to get to Canada, to Toronto, and you're going to meet Trinidadians. You're going to meet Somalians. You're going to meet Indians. You're going to meet Indians, not native, but, New Delhi Indians. And some of them may look dark, but they don't share the same background and experience as you. So don't just assume that because you see dark skin that, oh, so-and-so's light is mixed or whatever. But for me, Dr. Wade was, the beginning of a major transformation in my life, because he was a person. Now, of course, as a Nigerian, I had that determination. But environment also affects you. And Dr. Wade was pivotal. Why am I struggling with that word pivotal today? What is this? I'm struggling with the word pivotal. But anyway, Dr. Wade was a very important factor in me being able to brush off the negative effects of the society, where I embraced the fact that I was a nerd. And that to me was the game changer. Not trying to be old dog from Menace to Society, but being cool with being Urkel. I embraced the fact that I loved reading and I loved learning. And Dr. Wade was a person that pushed us to do this. And if you're into poetry, go ahead and be into poetry. Be into poetry. Dr. Wade he was a true mentor. And if I can be a quarter of what he is, then I will see myself as successful. So this first series of shout outs to my teacher goes to Dr. Wade. I hope he sees this video. I will send it to him anyway. But Dr. Wade, I love you. I thank you. I'm really honored to have had you come into my life. And I can only wish and pray that this path that I'm taking, that I'm doing something to further your legacy and attempt to walk in your footsteps. As usual, folks, I leave you with smile. Stay classy. Have a good day.